Hello children, let me welcome you to the virtual class of the Brihan Mumbai Mahanagar Palika. My name is Shraddha teacher. Children, we are in the middle of this COVID-19 pandemic, and because of that we are not able to go to school, but that doesn't mean we are going to stop learning. So we are going to do many lessons which are very interesting from your textbook through the virtual class here. So let us do a lesson in English today. So children, the lesson that we will be doing today is a beautiful poem from standard 7th, okay, and it is from your English textbook, and the name of the poem is lesson number 3.1 Tartary. Now children, this is a poem about imagination. Now sometimes when you're sitting and you're not doing anything and you have a lot of free time, you start imagining things. That is, you start wishing for things and you start thinking that, oh, if this would have happened, I would have been so happy. Alright, you start thinking that if I had become a pilot, then I would have sat in an aeroplane and I would have roamed the entire world. Some of you might imagine that if you become a cricketer, you would be able to get so much praise from people and you would be able to enjoy playing the game also. So now in this particular poem, the poet talks about becoming the king or the ruler of this place called Tartary. And then he also imagines that when he becomes the king, he will have a very, very good life. That is, he will be sleeping on a lavish bed. He will be having huge meals every day and everyone will bow to him, they will respect him. Okay, so this is a poem about imagination, about dreaming to become something. So let us go to the poem, but before going to the poem, let us talk about the person who has penned this, or who is the poet. So his name is Walter de la Mare. Okay, and about him let us read a few lines and a little bit of information. So he was an English novelist. So he used to write novels, or you can say long stories for children. He was also a short story writer along with novels. The novels means it is one big long story, but in a short story what happens is you read a few pages and then the story is over. Okay, so he was a short story writer also, and he was a novelist also. He was also a children's author and poet. So now here you can say this is a children's poem only. When we talk about imagination, when we talk about becoming king of a place, etc., then it is a poem for children. So come on, now let's see, go directly to the poem and let's see what the poet says. When he becomes a king, when he becomes a ruler of Tartary, what will he do? And remember children, this is a long poem. Okay, so I want you to open your English textbook and come to lesson number 3.1 and start reading the poem along with me. So come on, let's go to the poem and let's start reading it. If I were Lord of Tartary. So who is the lord of a place? The king of a place is called as the lord of a place. So if I were Lord of Tartary, what would you do? Myself and me alone. That is, I myself, I alone am the Lord of Tartary. There is no one else in Tartary who is more important than me. Okay, so if I were Lord of Tartary, myself and me alone, my bed should be of ivory. So see, a bed which is made up of ivory, which is fit for the king to sleep on. So he's saying that if I become the king of Tartary, then my bed will be made up of ivory. Alright, of beaten gold my throne. I will sleep on an ivory bed and I will sit on a golden throne. Can you see? When the gold is beaten into sheets and it is made into a throne. What is a throne? A throne is a royal chair on which the kings and the queens they sit. Alright. So once again, if I were Lord of Tartary, myself and me alone, My bed should be of ivory, of beaten gold my throne. So see, this is the imagination. Imagining that when I become Lord of Tartary, this is how my life is going to be. Then, and in my court should peacocks flaunt. Now he will have such a big coat that in his coat he will have peacocks walking around. Okay, flaunting, showing off. And in my coat, peacocks should flaunt, and in my forests, tigers haunt. So there will be peacocks which are dancing in my coat, and tigers who are walking around in my jungles. Okay, he also says that in my pools, great fishes aslant, their fins athwart the sun. That is, there are fishes also. He's got a pool in which there are great fishes, that is big fishes, and who go from here and there under the sun. Okay, they wave their fins and they go from one side of the pool to the other side of the pool under the sun. So these are some of his dreams, some of his imaginations about becoming the lord or the king or the ruler of this place called Tartary. Moving on, if I were Lord of Tartary, trumpeters every day. So who are trumpeters? Trumpeters are people who blow the instrument called as the trumpet. So can you see the trumpet there? So if I were Lord of Tartary, trumpeters every day, to every meal would summon me. So I will not just go and have lunch or dinner. The trumpeters will blow or play their trumpets and they will call me for every meal. To every meal would summon me. So there will be people blowing trumpets in order to call me or invite me for my meal. Okay? And in my courtyard bray, and in the evening lamps would shine. And he's saying in my courtyard or in my compound. Alright? There will be lots of lamps which will shine in the evening. So you can see these lamps which will always shine in his courtyard every evening. Now we also light lamps, but only when there is an occasion, when there is a festival, we light lamps. But he is the Lord of Tartary, he is the King of Tartary. So every evening there would be lamps which shine in his courtyard. Yellow as honey, red as wine. So yellow as honey the lamps would look like, and the lamps would also look like red as wine. Okay, while harp and flute and mandolin, so they are playing the trumpet to invite him, and the lamps are shining also in order to invite him or in order to make him feel happy. And along with that there is music also playing. So there are people playing music on the harp. See, this is the harp. It is a stringed instrument. There will be people playing music on the flute. Okay, we call it as the basuri. And then there are people who will be playing music on the mandolin, which is again a string instrument. So see, all this will happen when he just wants to eat a meal. Alright, so while harp and flute and mandolin make music sweet and gay. So when he just wants to have a meal, which is a very ordinary thing for us, isn't it? When we feel hungry, we go and we pick up a plate and we serve our meal and we eat it quietly. But now here the poet is the Lord of Tartary. So his meals are also very, very lavish. They are very, very grand. So whenever he wants to eat, there are people who are playing the trumpet, there are lamps which are shining, and there is music also being played on the harp, the flute, the mandolin and instruments like that. Okay, because he is the king and because he is imagining, so he can imagine anything that he wants to. Alright, moving on to the next lines. If I were Lord of Tartary, I'd wear a robe of beads. So now what will he wear? He will wear a robe or he will wear a gown which is made up of beads. Okay, white and gold and green they'd be. So the beads will be white color, the beads will be golden color beads and the beads will be green color beads. That means he will wear a gown or a robe which is made up of beautiful multicolored beads. And along with that, they will be clustered also as thick as seeds. So the coat will be full of beads. See, clustered. Can you see how the seeds are clustered? Clustered means they are packed together very closely. So, see about his clothes he talked. Now he talked about his meal also. He talked about the bed on which he is going to sleep, the throne on which he is going to sit, the animals, the birds around him. Alright, so all this is imagination. So once again, if I were Lord of Tartary, I'd wear a robe of beads. White and gold and green they'd be, and clustered thick as seeds. The next lines, and earth should wane the morning star, and whenever the morning star will wane and the day will break, when it will be day, when it will be early morning, what will happen? I don my robe and scimitar. So this is a robe and scimitar. A robe is the coat which the king wears, okay, and a scimitar is a kind of a weapon that the king carries around with him. And earth should wane the morning star, I don my robe and scimitar, and zebras 7 should draw my car. So see, he will have a car or a cart which is pulled by 7 zebras. So see, this is the kind of life which he wants to live. Now we have never seen zebras pulling someone's cart, isn't it? Because they are wild animals. You cannot tame them. You cannot teach them things. But again, this is imagination. So in imagination, anything can happen. You could also imagine that a dinosaur is pulling your cart because you are imagining. Okay? Through Tartary's dark glades. Glades means lanes or roads. Alright? So once again, if I were Lord of Tartary, I'd wear a robe of beads. White and gold and green they'd be, and clustered thick as seeds. And earth should wane the morning star, I'd don my robe and scimitar, and zebras 7 should draw my car through Tartary's dark glades. Coming to the last lines of the poem. Lord of the fruits of Tartary. So I am the lord of all the fruits, all the flowers which are there in my kingdom. Lord of the fruits of Tartary, her rivers silver pale. So I am the lord of all this, all the natural resources which are available in Tartary. I am the lord of that also. Lord of the hills of Tartary. Okay, glen, thicket, wood and dale. So he is describing the hills, he is describing the forest. Okay, and he is saying that I am the lord of all these things as well. Her flashing stars, her scented breeze. So scented breeze means there are flowers everywhere and there is breeze moving through the flowers, air moving through the flowers. So the air picks up the scent of these flowers and the air becomes scented. Alright? And her trembling lake like foamless seas. So there are lakes also in Tartary which are trembling. Okay, that is the water in the lake is trembling because of the wind. Her bird delighting citron trees. Citron trees means trees which bear citrus fruits. Which are the citrus fruits? Oranges and you can say sweet limes, lemons. These are all the citrus fruits. So there are lots of birds also on the citron trees in every purple vale. So wherever all the fruits, all the rivers, all the hills, the lakes, the valleys, vale means valley, everything belongs to this person. And he has imagined that he is the Lord of Tartary. So everything in Tartary belongs to him and him alone. Okay, so like I told you children, this is a poem about imagination. Okay, and how your imagination can take you places. See, and you can imagine that your horse, that your cart is being drawn by zebras. Alright, You can imagine so many different things. So it is about your imagination. So I hope you understood what the meaning of this poem is. Now let us quickly go to some meanings here. So you have athwart. See how you say this? Athwart. Okay? What is the meaning of athwart? From side to side of or across. You saw how the fishes are swimming in the lake. Alright, so from side to side, or they're swimming across the waters of the lake. And then you have the word wane. Wane here means what? To become gradually weaker or less important. In the mornings you will see how slowly, or during the evening time you will see how the sunlight wanes gradually. Gradually, slowly the sunlight starts becoming weaker and weaker. So that is called as waning. Okay children? And then you have glades. Glades means what? An open space in a forest or wood when there are no trees. So sometimes you will enter a forest, you will see a particular area which is open space. There are no trees over there. So that is called as a glade. And then you have glen. So what is a glen? A glen is also a part of a forest, and it is a valley. Okay, a valley means a space which is a little depressed, or there is a kind of a hole kind of a thing. Okay, depression is called as a vale. So that was the meaning of some new words in the poem. Okay, let us move on and let us do some exercises now children from the poem. So this is a vocabulary exercise. So find the words that mean the following from the first stanza. So we are supposed to find out words which mean the following things in the first stanza. So gold hammered into a flat, thin shape. So what is the word for this? When someone hammers gold into a flat and thin shape. What is the word used for this in the poem? It is beaten. They say beaten gold. Beaten means gold which is hammered into a flat and a thin shape. Alright, so now you can pause the video here and try to find out the answers to the other questions in this exercise, and then you can come back and check the answers with mine. Okay? Show off proudly. So showing off proudly, who is doing the work of showing off proudly over here? Yes, it is the peacock. And what is the word which is used here? The word is flaunt. So when you flaunt something, means you show it off proudly. See, when you were in a younger class, 3rd standard, 4th standard, your parents used to buy new dress for you on your birthday, and you used to wear this new dress and you used to go to school. And when all the other children are in their uniform, what do? You flaunt your new dress. That is, you show off your new dress proudly. That is called as flaunting. Let's go to the next one. Tilt or move at an angle. What is it called? It is called as slant. Okay, so the fishes, the lines where there were the fishes, there you saw the word athwart and you saw the word slant also. Finally, you have across, especially in a slanting direction. So the word here was tilt or athwart. Okay, so these are the words that mean the following from the first stanza. So the word that means beaten, the words that mean beaten is gold hammered into a flat thin shape. The words which mean flaunt is to show off proudly. Okay, so these are the words from the poem. So this is one vocabulary exercise that we have done here from the poem. Let's move on and let us do the next one. So they've asked us to find out the names of exotic musical instruments and animals mentioned in the poem. Exotic means something which you can usually not find around you. Actually, it means something which is foreign or something which is not local. Okay, so let us see. Now, what is a local animal? You can see cats, you can see dogs around you. Okay, that is a local animal. What is an exotic animal? Animals that you never get to see, except maybe if you go to a zoo or if you go to a forest, okay, or if you go to a national park. So let us try and find out which are the names of these exotic musical instruments and animals. So musical instruments are the harp. Okay, see, this is the harp. Now, which are the musical instruments that you can see around you? We see people playing the guitar. So the guitar is a musical instrument that we see around us. Sometimes you see the people playing drums also, tabla. So that is a musical instrument which you can see around you. But the harp is something that we may not get to see always. Okay, so the harp is an exotic musical instrument. The mandolin is an exotic musical instrument. Alright, let us look at some animals here. So peacocks are an exotic animal. Then we have tigers, which are an exotic animal. We cannot see them around us because they're all wild. Then we have zebras, which are exotic animals. Okay, so this is one more exercise. You can now pick up the names of some exotic musical instruments and animals which are not there in the poem. Okay, so this is one small exercise for you. Think of the names of musical instruments and animals which are exotic but they are not mentioned in the poem. Moving on to the next one. In the last stanza, there are three four-letter words that refer to a beautiful valley. So there are 4 letter words containing 4 letters, and there are 3 of them which refer to a beautiful valley. So come on, let's try and find them out. So this is a beautiful valley with a beautiful river and lots of flowers. And can you see what a valley is? It is a depression between 2 mountains. Okay, so let us see which are these 4 letter words. So you have a glen, okay, you have wood, you have a dale, and you can also say vale. Vale itself means valley, but they refer to the valley. So glen, wood, dale and vale. These are 4 four-letter words which refer to the beautiful valley in the poem. Alright, now children, I am giving you all these answers. You're getting the answers ready-made, but that is not how I intend to give you the answers. What you should do is, whenever I put up a question, you should always pause the video and you should try to find out the answers yourself. Okay? Then you always have the option of playing the video again and checking whether your answers were right. So that is the ideal way in which we should be doing the lesson. Okay, don't continuously look at the questions and the answers which I am giving you. You also should try and find out the answers yourself. Then we are supposed to find out 3 lines in the poem that use comparison. So which lines in the poem use comparison? Let us see. So yellow as honey is a comparison. You're comparing something with the color of honey. Red as wine. So you're comparing something to the color of wine. And finally you have lake like foamless seas. Okay, so you're talking about a lake which looks like a sea. It is such a big lake that it looks like a sea. So these are the lines that use comparison in the poem. Let us complete the following phrases now with the help of the poem. So let us see what the phrases are. Made music. Okay, so the word is made, and when you say music, what are you doing? You're completing the phrase. So you say made music. Then you have made music means to play instruments and make music. Then you have silver pale rivers. See, silver pale rivers. Then you have scented breeze. So when you add breeze to the word scented, it becomes a phrase. Scented breeze. Then you have trembling lake. See, lake which is trembling, shivering. Why would the lake shiver? Why would the lake tremble? Is it because it is feeling cold or it is feeling scared? Not at all. The lake trembles or the lake shivers because of the flow of wind on it. Okay, so trembling lake. Now we are completing all these phrases from the poem. Okay, you can also add words of your own in order to complete the phrase. Then you have bird delighting, citron trees. That is trees which delight the birds, which make the birds extremely happy because they can sit on it, they can sing songs, they can eat the fruits, etc. Alright, so these are the phrases that we have completed with the help of the poem. Let us come to the last part of our lesson, where we will talk a little bit about grammar or about some word exercise. So what is the meaning of consonance? So you must have heard, and I have told you also, that the letters of the alphabet are divided into two kinds. We have the vowels and we have the consonants. So this consonance is related to consonants. So the repetition of the consonant sounds either inside the lines of a poem or at the end of the line. So when the consonant sounds, that is a sound of the letters like B, D, okay, which are the vowels, children? A, E, I, O, U are the vowels. So the sound of A, E, I, O, U are the vowel sounds. The sound of the remaining alphabet, letters of the alphabet, okay? So you have B, you have C, you have D. All these are the consonant sounds. So when consonant sounds are repeated either inside the lines of a poem or at the end of a line, then this is called as consonance. C-O-N-S-O-N-A-N-C-E, consonance. Okay, let us see some examples. See, Nom the worm took the garden by a storm. The sound of the consonants R and M are repeated here. Nom the worm took the garden by a storm. You can see the sound of the is repeated here again and again. So this is an example of a consonance. Let us look at some more examples, children. See, he struck some hard luck when his grandson Tuck asked him to read. So the sound of the K is repeated. K. He struck some hard luck when his grandson Tuck asked him to read. Moving on. Next example. Little Lily Lovelace likes Luna's look. So the sound of the consonant L is repeated here. Little Lily Lovelace likes Luna's look. Okay, the sound of the consonant L is repeated here. One more example. Big bears bought big books. So which is the consonant sound which is repeated here? Yes, it is a sound of the consonant B. The B sound is repeated. Big bears bought big books. Now let us look at some consonants from our poem, but before that let us look at the meaning of consonants according to the poem. So consonance is a repetition of one or more consonant sounds, especially at the end of words. Consonance is usually pleasant to the ear. It feels nice to listen to these consonant sounds. Okay, examples, let's see. Pitter patter, pitter patter. These are some examples of consonants. Okay, reverse, silver pail. Alright, so reverse and then the silver in the beginning, and then you have the lint was sent with the tent. So you have the T sound which is repeated here. The lint was sent with the tent. Then all's well that ends well. So the S is repeated in alls and ends, and the L is repeated in well and well. Even the W sound. Alright, children, so this is about consonants. So come on, let us recall what all we did in this lesson today. So we first talked about the poem. We said that it is an imagination. It is a poem which is imaginary when someone is thinking or dreaming of becoming something, and here in this case the poet is dreaming that he will become the lord or the king of this kingdom called Tartary. And when he is a king, he will live the life of a king. That is, he will have a very lavish life. He will have a life which is very rich. Okay, then we talked a little bit about the poet also, and afterwards we read all the lines in the poem, and we saw beautiful images according to the poem. We also looked at the meanings of some difficult words in the poem, and also many exercises, children, from the poem. Okay, so that was all, children, for today, and hope you have enjoyed this lesson. So children, now you have watched the video. So after you watch the video now, you will have to complete a few simple tasks. Now you might have watched the video on your computers or your laptops or your mobile phones. Now after you watch the video, what will you do? You will please go to the description box which is given below the video. So what is the description box? See, the description box looks like this. Alright, and after you go to the description box, you will see that there are a few questions there. Now what are these questions about? These questions are about the lesson that we just learned or the video that you just watched. So what will you do? You will think back properly about the lesson and you will try and answer these questions and note down the answers in your notebook if you want. Okay? After that, we have another task waiting. You will also click on the link which you will find in the description box to fill up the Google form. So now what is the Google form, children? It is nothing but a simple form. There are a few simple questions there about the video which you just saw and also about yourself. So these are the tasks now that you will have to complete after you watch each video. So children, wasn't that a very interesting lesson? I'm sure you learnt a lot of new things in this lesson. If you have liked this video, please hit the like button and also subscribe to my video so that you will get to see all the videos which I keep posting regularly.